Hello guys, and welcome to this video. And in the last video we looked at document production. In this video we will be looking at databases, and task 3 database. You're now going to prepare some reports. Make sure all currency values display the same currency symbol and are set to 2 decimal places. In this case, we've not been told which currency symbol to use, so we are free to use our own currency symbol, but we should make sure that all currency values are actually using the same currency symbol and to 2 decimal places. So using a suitable database package, import the file j219books.csv. So let's go ahead and import that file, and we're supposed to set the field names and data types to this. So make sure that we have the data types listed here, and the format should be this. So let's go ahead and open up Access. We'll create a blank database. I'll just call it June 2019 paper 2.1, just to differentiate it from paper 2.2, which we'll come and do later on. Close up this one, and then we're going to go ahead and import the database. So I'll just minimize this like this, and just take this one this side, yeah, like that. So go ahead to on external data and get a text file, import it from text file, browse to the location where your files are. Mine should be here, and we need the books file. Go to next, and then go to next. Here the first row contains the field names, so you can tell the title, author, book reference, and so on. So select that, go to next, and then go to we can set the properties for the data types. So I can go to advanced here, and I can set the properties. So notice I can set here the date format also. It is the date order is DMY, which means the initial will be the day, then the month, and the year. But where to set this exact format, this one listed here, we set this format in actual Access. Okay. And then the delimiter, also here we can set the delimiter. If we're using a slash in our data, then the delimiter should have been a slash. But in this case, in our data, we're supposed to use the delimiter a dash or a hyphen. So we need just to leave it as it is. Okay. So go ahead and change the data types below here. So we have text, long integer is a number, that's what that should be fine. Text, and then long integer should be fine, long integer, but the one which should be changed is RRPP, double RP, which should be currency, and ASP should be currency. Okay, and then text, the next one, and then the one with date and time should be date. Okay, so that the data type has been set, and we can go to next, and then we're told to set the book, set the book reference as primary key. So choose your own primary key, and the book reference, this one should be set as primary key. Go to next and finish. Yeah. Okay, so that is done. You finished your importation. The next thing that you need to do is to come to the next question, which is this one. It says place in evidence document screenshot evidence showing the field names and data types used in the table. So right click on this one, take it to design view. We need to work on the currency first of all before we even start thinking about the screenshots. So set this to currency. I'll use the $sign here and set it to 2 decimal places. Do the same for this one, set it to currency and set it to 2 decimal places. Currency to 2 decimal places. And then we can also work on the date format. The date is supposed to be listed here. It's supposed to be short date, which is this one, medium date. If you don't find medium date, you just type DD-MMM-YY like that, and that should be perfectly fine. It will work out that you set that date. But in my case, I do have the medium date, so I'll just pick it up like that. Okay. So these have been done. Anything else that needs to be done, I'm not so sure. Now we can get a screenshot for this like that, copy it and paste it in our evidence document. That should be evidence 6, and paste it right there. It's too much. Okay, so next thing that we need to do is come here And the question paper says import the file J219 genre. I don't know if it says genre. Okay. .csv as a new table in your database and set the class code as primary key. So let's go ahead and import that. So I'll just minimize it. I don't even need to minimize this. So external data, I'll close up this one, save it, and import this one, which is this one, and go to OK. And next, first row contains field names, and we've not been told to change anything as far as the data types are concerned, but you can just verify this is text, and that should be fine. And then we've been told to set the class code as a primary key. So just choose my own primary key class code. Next and finish. Okay, so that is done. The next part of the question tells us to, let's say, it says, place in your evidence documents, create a one-to-many relationship between the class code in the genre table and the class code in the books table. So we're creating a one-to-many relationship. So come to your database tools, relationships. Make sure that your tables are closed. This is why I'm closing the tables after I use them. Make sure that your tables are closed. Otherwise, your relationships won't be able to be created. Okay, so get that and class code, drop it on class code in there. Enforce refresh integrity. Again, several times students have asked me, is it necessary to enforce refresh integrity? And I've said that it's not always essential for you to enforce refresh integrity. At IGCSE, Cambridge doesn't really mind whether you've enforced refresh integrity or not. But you see, as you go deeper into into databases, you realize that refresh integrity is key. So what does refresh integrity do actually? So it makes sure that for every record that you're trying to refer to in one table, there is a corresponding record or a key in another table. So there is that integrity that is exists. You can't refer to an item of data that actually doesn't exist. Access will tell you that this field or this record that you're trying to refer to doesn't exist. So that's why refresh integrity is important. It actually makes sure and checks the two tables that you are linking, that the data that is in one table actually has corresponding data that it is referring to in the other table. Okay. And what about if you try to enforce refresh integrity and it doesn't work out? Sometimes you try to do that, of course, and Access will tell you that this cannot work out and stuff like that. Don't worry, you just need to uncheck that so that you don't enforce it. Okay. Don't get stuck because of refresh integrity. Just go ahead and create your relationship without refresh integrity like this. Click on create and it will work out perfectly. Okay, but in our case, it should the first attempt you should make, try always to enforce refresh integrity and say create. And one of the things that you notice when refresh integrity is successfully enforced is that you have the $1 to $, infinite symbol down here. That shows you that the refresh integrity has been successfully enforced. If it is not successfully enforced, then you just have a line connecting this without any symbol shown here. Okay. So the next part of the question tells us to show in our evidence document the relationship between the two tables. Okay, so just come here and just take this a bit this side, double click on this line, select it and double click on it to bring up the edit relationship window, and make sure that these codes, the two fields that you are linking are selected, and just go ahead and get this screenshot and paste it in your evidence document. Okay, so I'm gonna paste it just here. Yeah, that should be fine. Don't worry about alignment. You can always do these alignments later after the exam. Focus on the exam first of all. Otherwise, you may end up resizing this, dragging this, and doing that. By the time the examiner is saying 5 minutes to the end of the exam, and then you start sweating, and yet the exam is being taken in June. In some countries, in June is very cold, and yet you see it's winter, and yet people in the exam room are sweating. The air cons are on and stuff like that, and people are still sweating. High levels of adrenaline. Don't do that. Okay. Okay, so good. Let's say So step 23 says create a columnar data entry form using the fields from the books table, which includes only the fields book reference, class code, title, imprint, publish date, binding, volume, and spin. Okay, so these are the ones that we will need to include in our table. So let's go ahead and open up this. So I'm going just to close this and say okay, close it and save, minimize it, and I'm going to create a form. So I'll just say form wizard, and on the form I'm selecting the fields from the books table. So one is book reference, and the other one is class code. Then I have the title, I have imprint, which is this one. Then I have published date, not published book, it's supposed to be published date. Then I have drag this one, get it this side, binding, okay, and then I have volume and ASP. Okay, so I have this. Just take that, make sure that it is columnar, because we are told to create a columnar data entry form. So make sure it's columnar here, and then next, and then here includes a suitable title in large and at the top. Okay, so here this is where you can enter the title. So I'll say this is my book. We're told that this is a data entry form, so each form should have a heading. What is it all about? So this is a data entry form for a book. So data entry form for a book. So just a book data entry form, that should be fine. Click on finish, and notice that we do have that. So we're told to say make sure that the layout has consistent alignment and spacing, and that all the fields actually field names and data are fully visible. So notice here you see that there's not consistent spacing. The distance between or the space between book reference and class ID is short, but notice between class ID and title it's kind of enough space between here, enough space, short space, and mainly it's because of these text sizes. So what you need to do is just take it into layout view, and you're going to resize these. Okay, so just resize this like that, just to make sure it is almost the same size as this one. Resize this as well, and make sure it's the same size as this one, almost the same size. You may not get it perfectly unless you use the absolute values, and to use the absolute values you may need to use just some figures to type in. Okay, so that should be fine. Get this, should be fine. That should be fine. So just make sure that they are aligned now properly. Just push this, select that, and use your key on your top key on your keyboard just to push it up. Select this and push it up also. Okay, select this, push it up. Should look consistent spacing. So down there, maybe I can push this and this one a bit down, and push these two down like that, and then get this one and push them as well like that. That should be fine. Get this one and this one, take them up as well, and lastly this one and this one, and take them up. So at least it should be something consistent. That looks a bit good. You can, if you want, you can enlarge this one a bit, just to make it sure that it is almost similar with the other one. If you want, you can reduce the size of this one and make it like that. That should be fine, guys. I mean, there should be just some form of consistency that is going on. Now we're told that this one is supposed to be a large font, so go ahead and make it a large font. Make it bold, and I'll put it at 36 maybe. Yeah, that looks good, and I'll make it black. That looks good. So next, so the field names are fully visible, all of them. We don't have any field name that is cut, so that should be fine. So the next thing that we need to do is to use the form that we just created to enter this data. So I'll just minimize this, take this form into form view, and then I'm going to bring it just a little bit here so I can see the data side by side, and I'll click on new here, new, and then book ref is supposed to be 10, 4444, and it's supposed to be RE009F, and then it's supposed to be Friday nights. Okay, Friday nights. Then read dark, and then we're supposed to have the date as 01 January 09. That should be fine. The binding is supposed to be paperback, and then this one is supposed to be volume 25662, and then the currency 5.29. Okay. Was that 5.29? 5.29. Be careful on the way you type the data. Okay, 5.29. That should be fine. And then you go ahead and save. Now, sometimes I just wanted to mention this. Sometimes you may before you, like, the next part tells you to check for data entry errors and stuff like that. Save the document and place a screenshot showing this data in your form. Sometimes you may have forgotten to actually get a screenshot. Okay, let's say you save this data, you end up closing this form, and then you remember, oh, I didn't take the screenshot, and then you come back here and you find that the record which is showing is not the one you entered. Then you start now to sweat again. Here you go again with the sweating. Somebody starts to sweat because they can't find the record that they just entered. Then when you try to enter the same record again, you're going to have an issue. Now look here. At the bottom here it says search. So just type the ID. So 10 and then 4444, and notice that the record that we just entered, if we saved it, has now come back here. And then we can get a screenshot of this. So get a screenshot of this and paste it in your evidence document. So whether you get it like this or you get it like this, doesn't matter, as long as in your form it is showing. But I like it to get it like this because it simply just shows that I mean, it's one of the records that I've entered here. Okay, come here and paste it. So we'll paste it here. Okay, looks good. Next, that is step number 25. Okay, so for step 25, I think I'm gonna pause the video and do it in the next video. So let me say I'll see you in the next video shortly. Okay.